Well, an insider told Fox News that Washington State University doctoral program candidate Brian Kohberger attended, and not only attended, but had access to the crime database that was in the lab, including police video from body cameras and live streams from security cameras on campus and in the community around them. Well, this left everyone in the true crime community speculating about whether this accused killer used that technology to stalk his victims, including setting up false calls for service at their apartment so that he could gather intel from the streaming video. Well, hello everybody and welcome to Profiling Evil. I've had so many emails regarding this story that Washington State University, the place where Brian Kohberger is attending or was attending, had a special area that has live video footage from campus cameras and public cameras around the area, as well as streaming live police body cam footage. Now, Fox left us to believe that this was all in fingertips of Brian Kohberger. They attributed everything to this informant, but it left us all wondering, did Kohberger have access to the system, including the possibility that this guy could have created phony disturbance calls on King Road just so he could watch police respond to the case with the video streaming from their body cams, the same place where those students would eventually become the murder victims. Well, as we get started, I hope that you'll take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and join the Profiling Evil family. Make sure you're looking for us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and check us out at profilingevil.com. But let's take a moment and look at what mainstream media released and what spun completely out of control. Is it just another red herring? It all began with this clickbait written headliner that said, quote, Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger's grad program had access to the crime lab with camera streams, insider, close quote. Well, holy smokes, is this a clue or a red herring? I think it's the latter, folks, and it just might be one more example of how creative wordsmithing can create a whole lot of who shot John. But first, what does who shot John mean? Let's take a moment. The idiom, who shot John, has nothing to do with Judge Judy, although she says it all the time. Now, some people say it's an old Texarkana expression. Others attribute it to other origins. I'm going to let you argue that out in the chat box down below. But the application that I always learned and leaned upon came from back in the 1960s when people would say a whole bunch of who shot John, meaning somebody just laid down a long, rambling story that doesn't seem to have a point. And this ain't who shot John. I do have a point here, folks. This thing grabs our attention, and it leads me to the point of this video, that there was a whole lot of who shot John. Fox leaned on their insider to say that Kohberger was akin to a wolf in the hen house. Well, their story left me believing that they believe that Kohberger had access to this specialized and protected Washington State University crime lab database information. Again, filled with police body cam video, including streaming video, as well as live streaming video from local cameras on campus and in communities around the campus. Well, at least for a fraction of a second, until you realize that those are just the same camera feeds in many instances that you and I already have access to through the public, it really looked outrageous. You know, footage like we saw with the Moscow food truck. Another troubling rumor that I heard about Kohberger, though, was that he had applied for an internship with the Moscow Police Department, and this is a red herring from everything I can see. I haven't been able to validate that he applied over at Moscow, but I did discover that according to many news reports, including Fox 6 News, Kohberger did apply for an internship with the Pullman Police Department. Now, Kohberger, according to Fox 6 News, said that he had an interest in assisting law enforcement efforts, agencies on strategy to how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. And that information we know is accurate because it came from the arrest affidavit. But it leaves me wondering if it's possible that this alleged killer could have wanted to get a position like that to better understand the workings inside the police department, especially if he was pre-planning these murders. I mean, think about it. Being on the inside would give him a heads up to any police activity that's going on, even if it's in a neighboring community. Which takes me back to, if it was all part of his scheme, is it possible that his first intended victims were in Pullman rather than going away to Moscow? And I wonder if he had been accepted into that program, if he might have selected a Pullman victim rather than a Moscow victim. Don't know. On the flip side, it makes me wonder if he was denied the opportunity in this internship, if he may have committed the crimes as a way of teaching law enforcement a lesson for not bringing him on board. Well, both are pretty wild speculation, but it's based on actual facts that have been released. Now, frankly, all any of us need to do is go online and look up video camera features that are streaming anywhere live in the world. You can find them all over, and chances are you could find something from business, a government, an individual who's sharing live video feeds of people in the area around them, people that are completely unaware that they're being filmed. Think of the camera network that's found in places like London, England. That is absolutely overwhelming when you look at the video network that law enforcement uses there. Or places like Jakarta or Saudi Arabia, where there are thousands of video cameras in the metropolitan areas monitoring and watching what's going on. So before I close out this video, remember, Moscow police used the same Washington State University traffic camera footage, the same thing people are complaining about, that's under fire here, to identify Kohberger, who now faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and a single count of felony burglary. Hey everybody, it's Mike from Profiling Evil. I've been studying criminal behavior for more than 40 years, and one of my favorite research tools is Truthfinder. It's online, and you're not going to believe the information stored there. So if you want to know more about that new neighbor, your babysitter, or your next online date, give Truthfinder a try. I'm including a link below with special discount pricing. You got to click the link to get it, and then enter EVIL10 at checkout. We're an affiliate, which means we get a small commission, enough to buy a small Diet Dr. Pepper, but you can cancel at any time. Thanks for listening today. So my question for you folks is, what are your thoughts? I mean, should we be allowing universities and students to study law enforcement activities in this way by looking at footage like this? And by the way, Moscow, Idaho does not participate in that body cam footage that Washington State University has. So again, another red herring that left us speculating on things that just weren't true. So should those in the education and academic field, students wanting to get into criminal justice, have access to this kind of footage? Those are the people that are going to become our next crime fighters, or in some cases, our next killers in the alleged case of Brian Kohberger. Or would you rather see government restrict the use of things like your doorbell video camera system, or cameras on the side of your house or the local businesses, or sensors that are providing insight into law enforcement and many other disciplines? I'm going to be looking for your answers down below, and I hope that you'll take time to weigh in and to respond to each other. Take some time and talk through this with your peers. Let's see if we can learn something together. And make sure that you're subscribing to Profiling Evil and that you're checking us out on the World Wide Web at profilingevil.com. You know, yesterday I released 16 new episodes for Profiling Evil's Academy channel membership. It's only available to channel members, so I hope you'll go over and consider joining. You can do so for only $4.99 a month. Now, if you can't afford it, don't sweat it. We really do appreciate those who can provide us some financial support. But if you can't afford it, hang in there, because in May we're going to release all those videos out to the public. Just like we have if you go over to our playlist, The Academy, and get Series 1 and Series 2 that are already out on the Academy series. So make sure you're checking out that Profiling Evil Academy playlist. There you're going to find Series 1 and Series 2. And if you like podcasts, folks, make sure you're listening to Profiling Evil podcasts on your favorite podcast platform. Thanks so much for your support, and we'll see you all soon at the next crime scene.